guys, it's Tarek with RitalinFPV, and I decided to put some videos together after some customers asked me for some help regarding setting up BetaFlight, setting up BLHeli, and adding some drivers to their computer for their flight controllers and things to be recognized. So what I decided to do was, I've got a computer hooked up here, and you can see the screen here. I'll flip over. Let me actually give me 1 second. I'm going to make sure that that screen is running properly. So let's do that. And we should be up and running here in just a second. Let me close all this down. And then basically what you're going to do is, I'm going to mimic what you see when you're on your computer, and that way when you're doing this, you'll be able to follow along and use this instruction to help you do your stuff. So I'll show you what I've got here. And so right now, as you can see, you're going to see this is the RitalinFPV website. You're going to need that because there's going to be a link that I'm going to send to you. And then I'm going to see if I can do a picture-in-picture here. So bear with me a second. And let's make it to where my face is the smaller part of the two. Okay, so there we go, right? So what we're talking about right now is, let's say you've got your computer and you do not have your BLHeli set up or your BetaFlight set up, and this is your first time, you're just getting started. So what I've done is, and it's a new blog post, so it's definitely rough right now, but the links are valid. So what you're going to do is you go to RitalinFPV.com, and then you can click the tutorials link there at the top. Sorry, under the CFPV posts and info, click tutorials, and then you're going to see this blog, and it's let me see if I can scroll down here. Whoops. Okay, so it's going to be called, it's the Getting Started blog, and I'm going to click that, and when I open it up, let me see if I can make this bigger. All right, so the first thing is, I'm giving you links here to BetaFlight and BLHeli. I did not give you links to the file, but to the page that you can download the files, because there are going to be updates and things, and if I give you a link to an update or to a file and it's not updated, it's not going to help you. So the first thing you want to do is go ahead and download, click the BetaFlight download link right here. And what you're going to see when you get here is you'll get to the GitHub website page, and just scroll on down. And depending on what you're running, I'm going to go ahead and download the installation file, the exe file. So you have the x86 and 64 file, and you can download the exe file. So I'm going to go ahead and just download this one right here. And when I click it, it's going to come here to save. And what I'll tell you is the way I recommend you set up your files. So if you're on a PC, now I'll do this video again for a Mac, because I run Macs personally, but I'm running the PC here. So go ahead and open your File Explorer and go to your Downloads folder. And I recommend that you make a new folder. I would just call it, like for me, I'm just going to call it RitalinFPV. But label it something where you're going to put all your files in, because this is going to really need to stay organized so you don't have duplicates as well. So here we go. So the first thing you want to do is, once you've downloaded it, go ahead and open the BetaFlight configurator and follow the instructions to install it. And now I've removed everything on this computer, so it's going to be like a fresh install like you guys are doing, okay? So go ahead and click through it, and we're going to get to this part here. All right, now, after this is done, my recommendation, again, is to put a link to this program, because there will be updates and things, and just to make it easier. Now, this is, when I remote in on a customer's computer, this is how I set it up. So I would just recommend that. I find it to be easier and much easier to be able to stay organized with it. So we're going to let this finish installing. It takes just a minute here to install. Sorry, excuse me, I gotta go close these doors real quick. I got some lawn guys here, and I don't want them opening these doors. And I guess you're gonna hear some noise, so I apologize. Hey Sam, the lawn guys are here. Okay, so sorry about that. Needed to give my wife the message that the lawn people showed up. Gotta get the dogs in. Okay, so you can see him, he's right there. Real cool guy. All right, so you got the option here to run it, so you can go ahead and click finish, and you're gonna hear the noise in the background. I apologize about that. Okay, so this is what BetaFlight looks like when you first open it, right? And a lot of people, here's where they next have the problem, is that they'll plug in a flight controller and none of this will change, but we're gonna get to that in 1 second. The next thing we have to do, though, is we have to finish doing our installs. So now you're gonna need to get your BLHeli link, download files, and I do recommend that you get both the 16-bit and the 32-bit, because your different ESCs are going to be in 32-bit or 16-bit format. So instead of doing it at the last minute, it's better to go ahead and do it now. So click that second link. Oh, I think I clicked the wrong link. Hold on, sorry. Go ahead and click the, there we go. Okay, so now you're going to get to GitHub here again, and here's your BLHeli links, and it's going to tell you where you can find the files. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll just click the MediaFire one, and you're going to have both options here. Now, you'll see the 16, this is for 16-bit, and the 32, this is for 32-bit. Go ahead and download them both. One is considerably smaller than the other one, but I'm going to get the 16-bit first, and just, you're going to have to wait for this thing to show up here. And I don't know if it auto downloads, but I'm just going to go ahead and click the download, and be careful because it will have pop-ups, so you don't want to be clicking all the pop-ups. So here goes a 16-bit download. It's not going to take very long, and while that's downloading, go back to your link, go back to your tab up here, and go ahead and now click on the 32-bit, and you can, I think it'll let you download at the same time, so go ahead and click download again, and you should see it right there. Okay, so now you're getting your 16-bit and your 32-bit downloads. These are both very critical, so it's important that you follow these steps too. Okay, so now those are going to go back into the downloads folder. So go ahead and take both of those and move them into the Cyclone or whatever folder I'm going to refer to as the Cyclone FPV folder. Well, let's go ahead and put it there, and then right-click on them and extract all the files in the first one. All right, and that's going to be the 16-bit. And I'm going to go, while that's doing that, I'm going to close my BetaFlight right now because I want to show you the links here in just a second. All right, so while that's extracting, I'm going to go ahead and right-click on the other one, and I'm going to say extract all, and I'm going to tell it to go ahead and do that too. And then when it's done, you see I have the file here. It says show the extracted files. Okay, so these are your executables, the BLHeli Suite 32. Right-click on that and just drag it over to your taskbar, and it'll say pin to taskbar, and go ahead and let it go there. And then you can close this down. And then you're going to have your BLHeli Suite 16-bit. Now, since there's no number after it, that's your 16-bit. Right-click on that and drag it down. And there's your shortcut there. So we're going to close that window. Now, this is your BetaFlight suite, right? Is going to be putting the link, I believe, still put it on the desktop. So we're going to go to our desktop. Let me minimize this, and let me move this out of the way. Okay, so here's our BetaFlight configurator. Again, right-click and drag it, and just put it between the two BLHelis. That way, the left one is 16-bit, the right one's 32-bit, and everything's simple. So now you have the files that you need to be able to configure your flight controllers, configure your ESCs. But the question is, where do we go from here? So let me give you an example of what people have as a problem. And to do that, I'm going to have to add, I'm going to switch screens here just a little bit. Well, you know what? Let me do it like this. So first thing is going to be let me close this down and make sure that we have our screen is functioning here. I see that it's paused. So let me do this. Okay, so while that's getting done, let me go ahead and do this real quick. Let me just see if I can get this to catch up. Okay, so what I'm doing first is I'm starting with something like the NAS 32 board. The reason I'm picking this board first is because I did ship out some really awesome bundle deals for $100, which was the quad, the controller, and everything for $100. And the board that came with it is a NAS 32. Problem is people don't know how to load the NAS 32, so this is going to kind of be a help file for that, okay? And I would probably, most likely, usually pause this video and start a NAS 32 video, but this is all going to roll into the same thing. So let me just do this real quick and get the new system running, the new desktop running. And let's see. Okay, so right now what we've got is we're back at the computer, okay? And I've made my links, my shortcuts here at the bottom for all three programs, right? And now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and get this NAS 32 going. So here's what you're going to see. People that load BetaFlight for the first time, right, and they've got everything going, and they plug in this NAS 32, they're going to plug it into their USB. And I'll kind of give you an idea of what that's like. So they're going to plug it into the USB. And you're going to hear that window sound like it's picking up the product, right? The problem is that the lights are blinking on here, but we have no COM port here to select still. All right, and if you go to if you click your start button, you click run, and you type control, right? You're going to get to your device manager, or you're going to get to your control panel, and you click device manager. You're going to see something here where it says, okay, there's an other device, and it's a CP2104 USB to UART bridge controller. Well, this is the problem. It means the drivers haven't been loaded, and this is what I'm working on the website to help you guys with. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go back to the website, and I'm going to be updating this a lot, but I did add NAS32 and the drivers that you need. So I'm going to be populating this list of boards that work with this, and then there's some other stuff here that's going to help you too. But under this one, since we're using the NAS32, you're going to go ahead and click that first. So you're going to click the Silicon Labs download drivers. Now I've put those on my Dropbox for you guys to download, but there may be updates down the road, but these are the ones that work. So we click that, and it's going to automatically start your download here. All right. And again, you're going to go to your folder and just go ahead and drop those in your Cyclone FPV folder. And again, you're going to extract them. So extract all, and then it's going to say show files when done. Now, at this point, I would recommend that you just go ahead and take your NAS32 off, right? Or your whatever flight controller you're using, but in this case, the NAS32, because I don't want anything installed when it's trying to do this. Now, I'm running a 64-bit Windows, and if you don't know what you're running, again, go back to your control panel. And if you locate the system icon, and it'll tell you right here if you're running a 64-bit or a 32-bit. Most of you guys are going to be running 64 now, but just in case, that's how you can check, okay? So I'm running 64, so I'm going to click this executable right here, the CP21X VCP installer _ X64. So double click that, and you're going to be prompted to install it. Click yes, click next, click that you accept the agreement, next, and it's going to start loading the drives. A very quick install, okay? Now, if you want to see how this helped, what you're going to do is we can close this box down. Let me click that, okay? And let me see if it's not populating on here. I need it to populate on this screen, and I see you guys are not seeing that, so bear with me a second. There's definitely an issue with this. Let me see if I can get this fixed real quick. Let's see if we can take that off. All right, hold on. I'm going to see if I can add this back, and it looks like it's not going to go back. So let me close this window, and we'll get it right back there for you. All right, so there we go. And I will put the computer screen back up. And if it does freeze, guys, I apologize. I will try to catch that. It's a software glitch right now, but all right, so here we go. So now that we've got the driver loaded, all right, the one thing that we want to do now is go ahead and plug our NAS back in. So when we plug our NAS back in, like we're doing here, you're going to go ahead and plug that back in. Now watch your device manager. All of a sudden, your NAS pops up under a COM port, which is perfect because that's what you needed. So now you're going to go to BetaFlight. Now you can see your COM port added here, but pay close attention. This is where the problems can start. So if you try to connect, now I can't remember if this one has been firmware flashed or not. Okay, you may see this error right here. This is flashed for clean flight. So you're going to click close, and you can click disconnect. And what you're going to do is come click, we can maximize this a little bit. You can see this thing called Firmware Flasher. Go ahead and click that, all right? And when you do that, you're going to have your options here for your drop down. Well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to scroll down to NAS. Let me find it here. I'm kind of zooming right past. So go to NAS. Now, the NAS versions have changed along the way, and some support things that we need, and some support things that we need, and some don't support things. The new downloads do not support. My recommendation is go to 3.2.1 or 3.2.2. The 2017 version should be okay. One of the things it doesn't support is pass-through ESC. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the, I'm just going to go 3.2.0, right? And I'm going to click Load Firmware, and I'm going to click Flash. Now, there it goes, and it's going to flash it. And what it's doing is it's putting the BetaFlight compatible firmware on there. So if you did have an error where you couldn't see it, now that's going to be gone. For those of you that did not have the COM port pop up, you must load that driver that I made available to you on the blog page. And again, that is, if you go to the blog page, it is the first one, and you'll see the name of the driver or the board right here. And like I said, I'll populate this. I just made this yesterday to kind of help out some customers. And so you'll see this here in just a second. So now that it's flashing, it's going to finish the verifying, and once it's done, it's going to say the programming is successful. Now you can go back and click connect, and boom, all of a sudden you're in your NAS. And don't worry, mine is loose standing, so that quad that you see right there is going to be flickering all over the place. But you're ready to go, okay? So this is how you get your BetaFlight set up, first of all, and this is how you get your NAS32 board set up. Now, I'm going to show you something here real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and disconnect my NAS32. There you go. And you're going to see immediately the COM port is gone. Now, I'm just going to randomly grab a board. Let me see. I'll grab this, I think this is the HGLRC F3V4. Now, I cannot remember off the top of my head which one this uses, so I'm just going to go ahead and plug it in. And that board, if you see the COM port pop up, that means that that board is using the same driver. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to my blog post here, and I'm just going to update to say HDLRC F3 V4 Pro. All right, so that's another one that we have that we know if you have that, you need this driver to work. All right, so we'll go ahead and go that route. Now I do want to show you something about this, and if I hit refresh here, you should see that populate now. There it is. Okay, so one thing I do want to show you is, and whoops, I need to close this real quick. I apologize. Let me get rid of this. Okay, one thing I do want to show you is if you go back to your BLHeli program, which is right here, right, and you connect. Okay, what you're going to notice is depending, if you go to the CLI in BetaFlight, you can type version, and you can see what version is loaded. This is April 2018, version 3.3.1. All right, so we're going to disconnect, and we're going to go back and connect, and we are going to go to our configuration page. Hopefully this should connect here in a second. If it does time out on you, just stop it and go back again. So one of the things that you're going to see is that in this version, we have all the features we need. But if I go and I disconnect and I go to Firmware Flasher, now the F3V4 uses a spacing F3 driver, firmware, and I'm going to go to the newest one, 3.5.6, and I'm going to click Firmware. Now, we may see a problem here, and if we do, I want that to show up for you guys, so I'm going to click Flash Firmware, okay? Okay, so it's going to start flashing the firmware now. And I had a customer tell me yesterday that the F3V4 had a problem with the new update, so I'm going to try to verify that real quick. And this will kind of help you guys figure out what's going on and some of the things that you could, little tricks that you can use to work around some of the problems you may run into. And I just set up this computer here so we can start doing daily videos on these things. I have somebody that's asking about the HDLRC mini stack. The F428 is not updating properly, so I'm going to show them how to do that. So this is really going to help getting a lot of videos out there. Now, as you can tell, loading the F3V4, it's an older board, and it is taking a while, but it's all right. It's just going to verify, and then we should be good to go. So we'll just sit here and say, hey, what's up? How y'all doing? Should be a second. It's that awkward silence, right? Or I've got to fill something, but I'll just shut up. All right, we're almost done. Okay, so it's successful. So you can click connect, and there's your board, right? And we're going to go through our configuration and see everything that we've got. Everything looks good here. I do not see the problem that he was stating, so it may be something else on his. But what you will notice, for example, is I'm going to disconnect this now, and I'm going to go back to plug in my NAS32. All right, and one thing that I can show you that I believe the NAS32 will show is on the NAS32, if you look at your ports right now, and I'm pretty sure this is going to happen, right? So if I go to NAS32 ports, and I go to my configuration, and I think this will happen, but I want to just verify. So I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Reboot. I turned on soft serial here, and I'll show you where that is, under ports. Okay, you see how I have all my serial ports here, right? So I'm going to disconnect now, and I'm going to go to Flash the Firmware, and I'm going to find that NAS32 again. And I'm going to go to select the newest one they have, load the firmware, and I'm going to flash it. This will take just a second, so I just want to see what's up. And then I'm going to stop the video here because this is really about getting BetaFlight up and running as a step one and getting BLHeli loaded. The next video will go into the BLHeli side of things, but since I don't have a quad set up here to run BLHeli on right now, I just want to stop here and at least try to answer some of the, hey, my drivers aren't working. Now, there are some websites you can use, a Zadig, DFU, this, and all that kind of stuff, which will help you. Excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold, but we're not at that point yet, all right? I want to just... All right, so we're going to connect now. All right, I want to go to my ports, and I want to go to my configuration, and I'm going to put soft serial back on, save and reboot. And I can't remember if this is going to be an error, an issue anymore, and it's not, so that's working fine. All right, so you can use this, right, and the website. And if you have a board that you're having a problem with, just hit me up at Tarek@CycloneFPV.com. Go to the website, you can find the link there. And I'll have all the boards here, so I'm going to be populating our blog page with what boards you need and what drivers you need for them. But the drivers I'm posting right now are the ones that I use. And they've been very successful for me. So try that, give that a shot, and please let me know if you need any help with it. I'll be more than happy to help you guys. If not, I will talk to you guys later. See you. Bye.